I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in a Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village. Facebook.com/VinandSori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed, a child shall lead them.
So buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. This is a surprise.
Another live stream.
Another live stream, you bums.
This is our random stream, or so we affectionately call
It's the
them.
Ronin stream. It's the Ronin stream. You call them the random streams.
Well, that's because there has been streams that have been called the Ronin, and this is not that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Every time I'm the one that calls them Ronin streams.
That's true.
So this is absolutely that.
Oh, well,
These are
welcome
people
to
who
the
buy-
Ronin
They
stream!
buy songs for themselves. They're not part of an alliance. They're not part of a DJ stream. It's they're on their own. What's up, Dwayne? Vin has here.
All right, so
There is no DJ. It's a Ronin today, basically.
well, we have multiple DJs.
You have
So yeah, so I
multiple
guess it's
DJs.
not like they choose the song, they DJ the one song, not a stream. Okay, so which one are we starting with?
We are starting with Asinis. Soulmate.
Okay, this is for the big homie My Insanity.
My Insanity.
Yeah, he's a man of many words. That was it. That's his introduction.
Okay.
You know how he rolls.
Yeah, we know how he rolls. Shout out to the big homie JLB, who was our DJ yesterday.
What's up? What's up?
Crushed it in his first ever DJ stream. Very, very
That
impressive.
was a very interesting stream.
Very impressive. All right, here we go. Song number 1, Soulmate Asinis. Let's do this shit. Go.
It's not too close to cap in my heart. There's no barrier, no way is so far.
my insanity.
That middle part, man. Oh man, that's like the next type of shit I'd love to be able to do on guitar.
Oh yeah,
that was so.
That would be pretty.
It was a different kind. It was. I've never heard a break. Usually, in the middle there's a breakdown. Stuff gets heavy, whatever. I've never really heard a breakdown like that because it wasn't just a regular dum dum, but it wasn't like a solo either. But it was just like, man, that part was amazing.
Beautiful.
And I love that they did it for like 12 turns or something like that. I forgot how much it was, but it was unbelievable. Like that part right there for me. Shout out to my insanity. That part right in the middle, man. Like that just completely like changed life for me, man. That was so inspiring on guitar. As a guitarist, like that shit is so inspiring. And the other thing that I love about like playing is that I envision, because I'm layering this song or whatever, so I envision what the other guitarist is doing and shit, and like how it would relate on stage. Because like there's a confluence, a similarity, but there's also a dissonance, obviously, because one is a lead and one is a rhythm.
Yeah.
But man, whoo! I love that part so much.
I have to know how many views the official
You
has.
can tell they were heavily influenced by the Beatles. Guess who said that?
Mocking Dwayne. It could be Amy.
It's absolutely Dwayne.
Wow, that is unfriggin' real. So like the actual song itself only 1.8 thousand views, and like the official stream 3.5 thousand views. I find that to be such a travesty.
These guys are top notch.
Yeah,
man.
they're really
top-notch.
really good.
They're absolutely top notch.
And
so good.
His vocal style had a certain level of desperation to it, and this song really, it could take on a couple of different. I mean, there's the obvious like relationship song, that looking for the other person that kind of matches your soul.
Yeah.
But then obviously, maybe I've been sitting underneath your criticisms of love songs for too long, because he says he's talking about once you'll find what you're longing for, inner peace forevermore. And
what do you mean my criticisms of love songs? Tonight, I'm the one that introduced you to that song.
Yes, but you're like, that's unhealthy. That too is unhealthy. Unhealthy!
What?
Unhealthy.
Tonight?
No. A lot of the love songs, when they come up, you're like, that's unhealthy.
Yes, because they're all about like codependency and horribleness. And tonight is beautiful. Like, hey, we're gonna.
I know.
We're gonna be sincere.
I like that one.
We have to face the past. We'll be able to move on. Blah blah blah. Like that, to me, that I don't have a problem with love songs, but yeah, I mean, that's obviously, in my opinion, the greatest love song of all time. And anyway, that
is a good one.
So this song, In Constant Search to Close the Gap in My Heart.
Yeah, like stuff like that. Go ahead, say it, babe. You're gonna say it, aren't you?
What? Say what?
Was it unhealthy? He's trying to close a gap in his heart. And then he talks about finding inner peace and inner peace forevermore, the soulmate defeating his fears.
That's a lot to put on a person.
That's what I'm saying. So what? Is it unhealthy?
There's someone who shares your belief with understanding of your grief. Someone who feels the same. It's the one who lights your flame. Like, if you literalize... Look, I don't have a problem with saying that your soulmate or a relationship can fill a gap in your heart, because from a biblical perspective, Adam is in a perfect environment and he has a direct relationship with God, and yet there was an obvious gap in his heart. So I don't have a problem with saying that the relationship does that, because obviously it does.
Yeah.
But it just depends on how big the gap was, because like people are finite as far as like how much space they can take up in your heart. So if you have a people-sized gap, then fine, that person can fill that gap. But if you have mommy issues, daddy issues, XYZ issues, this phobia, that phobia, blah blah blah, and you expect that person to fill all of that, that's when it becomes,
right,
in my view, unhealthy.
Right.
Because that person, then what ends up happening
Okay.
is the person gets idealized at the beginning and then crucified at the end. They get idealized at the beginning because it's like, oh, this person's going to be able to do X, Y, Z, fill all these gaps. But then they get crucified because they're not able to do that because they're a human being.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm like, okay, that's why people say things like there's a thin line between love and hate and all the rest of it.
Oh.
Or all's fear and love and war is because people are expecting way too much of people and then they're not able to deliver, and then it creates all these conflicts.
Okay. All right. I'm with you on that. So I really liked it. I liked the way the way that he talked about the longing, and when he said, separated in space and time, you are a part of mine, and if we never come together, you're in my mind forever. I liked that too. Like, there was this sort of longing that he's had for such a long time to find his soulmate, that at the end of it, he's like, look, if I never find this person, they're still going to be in my heart because I'm always going to be looking for them. And he said separated in space and time. Like, I remember when I was a teenager, I was like, oh, I can't wait to find the love of my life, blah, blah, blah. And then there was this movie, it was probably poorly produced and everything, so nobody's going to want to watch it, but it was something about a penny, or I think it was a coin of some sort. Anyway, this woman is able to connect, or this man is able to connect with a person of the past through this coin, and so they cross in this reality, but there's no way for them to really be together because they don't live from the same time period, but they fall in love. I'm sure it probably had some ending where the person is basically reincarnated and they find them in this life. You know what I mean? Like, it was probably something like that. But the concept of, like, wow, that's so true. Like, there's been so many people that have come before. Like, what if that person that matched you perfectly, you know what I mean? Like, before, what if they were, back in the 1800s? I mean, you're not,
right.
That's it. You only have the people here.
Right. Right.
So I always had, like, this idea of what the person was going to be and couldn't wait to meet the person, blah, blah, blah. And I would tell myself, well, they're not here today, but any day that can change. One of these days. Tomorrow could be the day. Today could be the day that they walk into your life. What?
That's fascinating. That's very fascinating. Was Christopher Reeve in the movie?
I don't know.
That's because
what was the name of the movie that you guys are thinking?
What movie were you thinking, Steven? Yeah, I mean, obviously, now we're gonna have to have a Don Hoffman reference, but Don Hoffman has the idea that consciousness is fundamental, and
somewhere in time. Yo, you guys are unbelievable. I think that is it.
Somewhere, yeah, that's Christopher Reeve.
A 1980 romance fantasy. Yep, that's probably it.
That he falls in love with a Victorian woman in a painting and is able to cross time to meet her metaphysically.
Was there anything about a penny in there, or would that just come out of nowhere? Was there was something that connected them like they were at a hotel or something and something connected them?
Negative vibes. We should probably shoot a commercial for that. Because that is something interesting. We'll probably shoot a commercial for that, and then you and your crew can distribute the commercial. Okay, so back to our regular scheduled program. Okay, so Hoffman believes that this what we call the physical world, or the things that we see.
See, Stephen, thank you.
That we see are it's just a dashboard, and that consciousness is fundamental, and we essentially co-created the. I mean, I don't agree with him here, but check it out. We co-created the physical world, what we call a physical world, so that we could explore the universe, experience the universe, and experience other consciousnesses. Because prior to the physical world being made, you have like literally trillions of mini networks of consciousnesses. So like, imagine Twitter, Facebook, or whatever on crack times a million, right? So you've had these trillions of networks of consciousnesses, and so those networks get together and decide to create a physical world, et cetera, et cetera. So the physical world isn't real in the most fundamental sense. Consciousness is, and we just created the physical world as a means of bumping into each other, experiencing each other. So what if you had, so if I had that as a premise, which would be a really amazing movie. And I don't know how you would be able to communicate pre-physicalized consciousnesses.
Yeah.
Because normally I've been saying like a disembodied consciousness, but that means that you had a body and then you lost it, you're disembodied. This would be pre-embodied consciousness. So this is just pure awareness, and somehow that pure awareness is individuated so that you could have trillions of spheres. And he says, like, I can sense your sphere. I perceive your sphere. So you had these spheres of consciousnesses that are aware of themselves and are aware that they're not the other one. Mm-hmm. Okay? And so that's very hard to relate with. So he said, let's create a physical world where we can individuate the consciousnesses and have a physical icon that marks you as you and me as me. Mm-hmm. Okay? So if that were the case, and you had these two consciousnesses that said, hey, we really like each other, let's go into the physical world so we can find each other, but they screwed up and either didn't land in the same physical area or didn't land at the proper time, right? You would have people that would be genuinely soulmates, but are completely separated by space and time, right? So that the only way that they could reconnect would be to disembody themselves and then find themselves in the previous realm that they were in prior to creating this lower world. That is
interesting.
It's very fascinating.
That's your thoughts based off his, or that was all his thoughts?
No, that would be my extrapolation. That's how I would apply, Hoffman's conscious agents theory in the context of this, which would explain the phenomena of people falling in love with people, across time and space, right? Because, they basically they had the wrong coordinates when they parachuted in here would be the idea.
That might explain some of you see that. I don't even know if I believe it. I don't know if people are really saying that they're in love or what. Like when there's somebody that like marries somebody that's like super old.
Right.
Because it's like, it doesn't make any sense, especially if the person's not rich, they're old, and they're saying that they love the person.
Well, it would explain a lot of things. Because if you fell in love in a pre-embodied state, okay, so what would happen if I land in a female body and you land in a female body?
Right.
Right? That would explain, like...
Honest to goodness, that whenever I have that thought, it always freaks me out.
But it would explain so much phenomena relative to love and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And it has horrible implications if you really extrapolate it out. I'm not even going to go there. Smart people could put it together. There's some really bad applications of that idea.
Absolutely.
Which is why I think you need somebody that superintends all this stuff, which would be the primary consciousness in my view, which would be God. You need, like, Hoffman is like, oh yeah, we created this physical, like, how? How did we gin up this massively elaborate simulation? We're not told. We're just told that, the physical world is iconography, which I think he's proven mathematically, which is true. But the things that people will do to get away from God. But anyway, the concept of the soulmate is a very interesting, it's about people who connected at the soul level prior to the physical level. And for whatever reason, we think that the soul connection is deeper or more virtuous than the physical connection.
Wow.
Like, nobody ever says body mates.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, even using the term twin flame, like, fire is physical to a degree, but we generally don't associate fire with the physical world. We associate fire with spirit or whatever. So...
Yeah, I mean... I think because... like, a body connection makes sense, especially if two people just look really good. You're like, well, that I was just watching this thing where there's a girl and she was overweight by a lot, and she was with this guy that was like a bodybuilder, and she was taking pictures. I guess there's like a thing where people will take pictures like before and after they get ready. Mm-hmm. So they were both in their towels. And then it's them after they get ready. And of course, both pictures, he looks top notch. And both pictures, she looks, And so she was like saying how the comment section really blew up and people were being really rude. And they were like, this doesn't make any sense. I know math, blah, blah, blah. And, people were being really, really mean. And she was like, like everybody wants to make everything about the physical connection. Like him and I are extremely tight and we have a very close-knit relationship and they've connected at a very deep level. And so, you know, she didn't say whether or not he would like it if she was more fit. But she was just saying like that their connection is deeper than what everybody's looking at on the surface. And so I think that when we talk about like the soul versus the body, like when it's the body and it's two people that match up in attractiveness, you're like, oh, okay, that most people think that makes sense. But we all know that the body it's going to take a downward trend. It doesn't matter if you're the girl in the situation I was just talking about, the girl or the guy, both of them are going to take a downward trend because they're both getting older. But as far as the soul can get sweeter, not with time, but with applying yourself to becoming a deeper person and understanding yourself and understanding the world around you and having a deeper connection with other people and the souls that surround you. And that can obviously having a spiritual connection, all that stuff makes it so that way your soul can become sweeter. And if both of you are both working on your souls, then it's getting sweeter. We say with time, but time doesn't do anything, because if you're left to yourself and you're a bitter person, it's just going to keep getting worse and worse and more bitter. That's how you get horrible, nasty old people. It doesn't happen. Like time, they've had time, and look what it did to them.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's why people look at the soul connection as something deeper. And also, I think that, I don't know, maybe there's a level, like a subconscious level where we think the body thing, like next we're gonna die. When we see everybody die, what you see is their body left. You don't see their soul, you don't see their spirit. We just see their body left. So we're like, yeah, that thing's not. That's something's there. Mm-hmm. But the soul and the spirit, they continue on, and we're not. It's not as clear to us where they go or whatever. I mean, it depends on your belief system, what you think, but the body stays right there. You bury it or you cremate it or something. So I don't know. I just think that we have this sort of understanding that the physical it's just not as meaningful as the soul. So, and it's not as deep.
The song's a 9.8 for me. I'm going to be jamming to that song in the car for a long time.
It is definitely worth a 9.8. 9.9 for me. I loved it. Thank you, my insanity. If my Apple Music was working, or whatever it's called, iTunes or whatever, I would add it to my playlist. But every time I add a song, it suddenly disappears. All right, well, we'll come back at you with another song. We have Elvenking-Witches Gather next.
Yes, sir. We shall return. Then out.
Sorry, out.
Gone.
Actually, we probably should do
Is it
Freak
Elden
Angel.
King or Elden Ring?
We should probably do FreakAngel, so then my insanity can just see both of his back to back.
Okay. All right. We shall return. I'm Ben.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get matched down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village. Facebook.com/BenandSori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed, a child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener, yes, dear listener, yes, dear listener. Here we go, guys. Another one for the big homie, My Insanity. My Insanity is the commander of the Ronin army. So the Ronin are those who, they don't get DJ streams, they don't do alliances, they buy their own song. It's a one-off here, one-off there. It's their own song, it's their own thing, they do what they want. They're not part of anybody's crew. And My Insanity is the leader of that particular faction.
He's the leader because he's a funny guy.
Yeah, he actually sent us something. One of the best gifts we've ever gotten. Shout out to everybody who's given us stuff. He sent that little thingy from the rainforest or whatever. It was like this little unbelievable. Okay, and that is who he is. And this is the second song we've done for him in a row. It's called
FreakAngel is the name of the band. The name of the song is Porcelain Doll.
Porcelain Doll. Check it out, losers. Let's go.
Oh my gosh, I didn't see there was a video. Holy crap. Turn it.
Like a saint who is an error.
lyrics. A violent love, a bleeding heart.
I got the lyrics.
Huh?
I have them here.
Yeah?
I have the lyrics here.
I don't understand why you're telling me that. I have them here also. Am I missing
this
something?
way you can look toward the screen instead of away
Oh,
from
yeah,
the
I know,
people.
but you know, my eyes are not that good when I'm pregnant. So by the time I get close enough to read it, my face is behind the thing. So you'd be better off just to have me looking away.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
A violent love and a bleeding heart. Like a saint with arrows, you've performed your shot. Would you like to change your life for a dream? To cover your eyes from the things that you've seen? To run from the feelings that are hunting you down? To forget and escape from this effing ghost town? She was a doll made of porcelain, as perfect as Monroe for Kennedy. She was a queen raised to charm your mind, to F you up in no time. She was a doll made of porcelain, as perfect as Monroe. Okay, we read that. The smoke from the barrel where the bullet once was, reflection of her face in the lonely raindrops. Would you like to change your life for a dream? To cover your eyes from the things that you've seen? To run from the feelings that are hunting you down and to forget and escape from this effing ghost town? And it just keeps repeating that stuff about her being made of porcelain. So I'm guessing somebody broke his heart.
As perfect as Monroe for Kennedy.
Right. And so she
was a
oh,
queen
Monroe
raised...
for Kennedy.
Right. So Marilyn Monroe and John Kennedy.
Yeah.
And
they had that little thing. She sang in that birthday
legendarily, supposedly they had a thing. Who could know for sure? Who could know for sure?
I can know that I wouldn't want a woman singing "Happy Birthday" to you like that.
You wouldn't want a woman singing "Happy Birthday" to me, period.
No, she can sing "Happy Birthday," but not like that.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? A little awkward. So, okay, so that means that would perfect for Monroe to Kennedy. It means a forbidden love type of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a forbidden love type of thing. So she was a queen raised to charm your mind and fuck you up in no time. She was a doll made of porcelain, meaning she was fragile and precious. The smoke from the barrel where the bullet once was, reflection of her face in the lonely raindrops. Maybe that's another allusion to the Kennedy, because Kennedy, he got assassinated with a firearm. Mm-hmm. So, would you like to change your life for a dream? To cover your eyes from the things you've seen, to run from the feelings that are hunting you down, forget and escape this ghost town?
Yeah, I think that like when you have a relationship that it's that sort of. I'm just picking up what we just talked about. I think if you have a relationship, it's forbidden love, but it fits you perfectly for that time, and then it just like dissipates. Like, okay, so I think that if you and I had only been together for like a little smidge of time at the beginning, like that one summer,
yeah,
and then that was it, like it would have that feel to it. Like it just, that would be really heartbreaking. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if you have it like that, and then I would think that you would keep, mentally going back to that time. It's like a ghost town because the people are not there anymore. The events are done. All you have what's left is in your memories.
Well, it seems it's a weird dynamic, but it seems to me that relationships take on a lot more urgency when you're in a small town and you're bigger than the town. Like in New York, like I don't. It's gonna come off the wrong, but you just ran through relationships. Like, if you liked a girl and that was fine or whatever, and you guys didn't work out, everybody got over things a lot quicker. I don't know, but over here, if you're in a small town and there's nothing to do, and a relationship is the biggest thing in your life, when that is over, it seems to have a lot more consequence than in a bigger city.
Well, I mean, I think. Also, if you're in a small town, you know how they say, it's a small pool of people.
Right.
So it's like, well, who else is there?
Right.
So,
right. Especially if you connect, especially if you're connecting with. I agree.
Yeah,
if
you're in
really
New York.
Connecting with a person, and you're in a small town, the chances of you finding somebody else like that, you're gonna say are nil.
Yeah.
Whereas in New York.
Yeah. The thing is, like in Maine. you see people like repeatedly. Like there's like faces that you're like, I've never seen that person. I've never seen.
Yeah.
But every time you go to Walmart, you're like, seen them.
Yep.
Seen that person.
100%.
Seen that person.
100%.
But I'm sure like in New York, like you just go to a different Starbucks or go to a different, and then there's going to be a whole new crew of people
that you've never seen in your life.
So
Correct.
it seems like there's a lot more possibilities, and with, with possibilities comes hope. So then it's like, okay, there's a lot more that can be done. But I agree, small town, man.
You always feel like you can reinvent yourself, start from
right,
scratch.
yeah, I could see that.
You really don't in small towns. It looks like, I don't know. It's very interesting, very, very interesting. So, I mean, I see how he would take it that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I see how it would be like, such a. I mean, look, there was some Marilyn Manson kind of
energy there.
Yeah, with the aesthetic, the look. The aesthetics of it, he looks like Marilyn Manson, like, there's a lot of that, so people picked up on that, but, everybody gets inspired from somebody, so, like, I'm not going to penalize him for that, but it just seemed to me, like, like, building, it's like, that's one of the things that's interesting. I was listening to this, the guy's a pianist, actually, but he's very interesting when he talks about chord progression and things like that, because he talks about building tension and resolving tension. Like, there's certain notes that build tension, and there's certain notes that resolve tension.
Yep.
And so, good artists can kind of put you in that situation where you're kind of on that loop where you're constantly feeling tension and resolution, etc. And there didn't, I think Steven said it or Dwayne said it. Like, there wasn't a lot of like tension in the song that was resolved. It was kind of the beat the beat was kind of the same through the entire song. It's kind of industrial, which is cool.
And there wasn't like that beep 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 beep.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of variation. There wasn't a lot of build up. There wasn't a lot of. It was just kind of flat. And lyrically, it was a very slow moving vehicle.
Well,
the music, you know what I'm saying? It was, and the lyrics really didn't deliver very well. I don't know. I'm not a fan of this song, to be honest.
I don't know. Somebody in the comment section said, "Oh shoot, I can't remember what I was gonna say." Wow, oh my gosh. Anyway.
What?
I can't remember. Somebody in the comment section said something, and I was like, "Yeah, that's kind of true." But now I don't remember what it was. But I felt like it was a little slow moving. I'm okay with it not, I'm okay with the song not necessarily like, I think that that's how he felt. When you're in this situation, that there is no release. Mm-hmm. The relationship's over, it's only ghost town, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. I do agree the lyrics were pretty short. And, that's what it was. Somebody in the comment section was like, I don't know, the music's not really doing anything for me. The music video is taking all my attention.
Right.
So, yeah, the music video was definitely interesting, the angles that they were taking with it. Some of the stuff was very curious to me, like when she grabbed his hair and did that.
Yeah.
I was like, what are we trying to communicate here?
Yeah.
Not sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I wasn't a giant fan of this song either. I'm going to give this one a 6.7.
It's a 5 for me. Yeah, it's a 5 for me.
Alrighty then.
There you go. We have more songs on the way, dear listener.
Elvenking is up next.
Feet out.
Sorry, out.
Go. Would you say Elden King?
Elven. Like an elf, but Elven. Elven-King. Witches Gather. Ooh.
I'm Ben.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at sori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. You get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener.
All right. So shout out to the homie. How do you say this? Zeke? Zick?
Zick.
That is the
shout out to Zick.
He or she, I'm assuming that's a he, is the decider of this song. They said about this song, I think you'll find the lyrics very interesting, even if you don't like the song. Personally, there are some musically that I usually wouldn't care for myself, but the lyrics are so compelling that I can't help but love it. I know this is a topic you two have discussed before from other songs, but I'm certain this song will give you more to say. I am by no means a pagan, but I think it's very easy to identify with this song on a human level, regardless of your ideology or beliefs. Also, it's worth noting that this band is from Italy, home of the Pope, so there is probably just as much of a modern basis as an olden one for what they have to say about the church. Okay. Witches Gather, Elven King.
Witches Gather, Elden King. This should be a very interesting song. Prepare! Now, if you're a Christian, don't be angry at us. Don't send me any bad emails. We just review the songs that are chosen. Okay, here we go. Elven King, Witches Gather. Let's do this shit. Go.
All the pain, all the innocent will remain. The moonlight above is watching and praying and showing her love. Like a star sweeping the night, she'll start to shiver and will look so bright. On the person in life and force her life, so you will be a take down. Let the rest of the run away from their house. Stay away from this natural chaos. Your lovers will awaken in us. I watch them with bleeding the darkness. Walking in darkness, we won't live in another hell. Living in darkness, walking in darkness, we won't live in another day. The witches still gather round a circle of fire, together side by side under the starlit sky. The witches will gather and the spirits will fly, together side by side in the middle of the night. The witches still gather round a circle of fire, together side by side under the starlit sky. The witches will gather and the spirits will fly, together side by side in the middle of the night. I ride with them in a circle of fire. Save me, what's left to all of you is you talk to all of you. What's on your stay, I'm going to burn you, burn it up. The day will fade like a stream that is silent. There won't be any circle of stones, no magical rites, no more. We tried to come, we wanted to show you the goodness of the stars, of the moon, but you failed miserably, and we paid. We paid. We paid. We paid. We paid.
That ending. Wow.
Yeah, that was crazy. This
Yeah.
this song like was going all around the world. It was close to the point where I'm like, this is why I hate progressive music. You know, they copy and paste a bunch of shit that doesn't work. But I don't know. I felt like they went to the edges of it and they made it work. They made it work. They did it. But I mean, some of the transitions were a little bit awkward and choppy.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
But at the same time, it was also pretty inspiring. So there you go. Okay, so what do you got?
Well, we're talking about the witches from the past and how they were treated by the church, right?
Yep.
Or so-called witches. I really think that the ending was, I know that we're not at the end, but the ending was pretty crazy. Like when she was doing that, the spoken word part.
Yeah, we tried to
And
show you the light of the stars.
No, we tried to show you the goodness of the stars and of the moon, but you failed miserably, and we paid.
Right.
And like that's always kind of like been my thing with the witch trials and everything that went on there, is because I've been a part of, you know, evangelical church since I can remember. I do know that once they demonize something, that's it, man. You know, I remember there was a church that people that I knew were attending, and they couldn't have any toys that made any sort of noise. So if you squeezed it and the toy would say, "I love you" or something, that was demonic, they said. And so you literally had to rip the voice boxes out of all the toys. No toys could have anything like that because it was demonic. So, and
wow.
If you had something, so like that was their family. We didn't go to that church. And my parents, I think my parents were kind of like very heavily influenced by them, but they weren't like over the top like them as much. And but you still felt that like them like kind of looking sideways at you if you had anything that was deemed not good by their church. They even were, if they went to garage sales and they bought stuff from garage sales, they would say there could be a spirit stuck inside the stuff. And so you had to cast the spirits out of the stuff before you brought it home. And, there was a woman and she was going through, she did have some issues. She probably, honestly, should have seen a therapist and maybe needed some meds. I don't know. But when she was having it's like if if every day I slapped you across the face and like one day you're like, what? No, and you're freaking out about it, and then I'm like, Lou, you got a spirit in you. It's like, well, wait a minute, I'm reacting to the way that you've been treating me for a very long time. And so like, but it was, oh no, you have a spirit, instead of looking at the real practical side of it. So when she says like, we were trying to show you the goodness of the stars and the moon, but you wouldn't see it, and then we had to pay for it. Like, I could totally see that happening. You get a group of people and they demonize a certain, like, if you, like, I notice if you talk too much about the forest, and like, if I talk too much about the forest and how the forest makes me feel, that's not looked at it as, you can't say that kind of stuff. You can't say you feel the energy of the forest.
Right.
Stuff like that. So I can see how it could progress to that level, and then people are getting killed for it, and then you just pull in just human nature, just kind of like unchecked, and women's jealousy of other women, and then saying, oh, she's a witch, just so that way, like
yeah.
Just all kinds of stuff like that. So
yeah, you'd have been done for. You'd have been done for in that time period.
Yeah, that's that.
Right, like,
yeah.
Like, oh, my husband's enchanted with this woman. It's not because he's a lecherous bastard. It's because this woman is yeah. I'm gonna do my Handmaid's Tale review. I don't know which channel I'm gonna put it on. I'll probably put it on the Middle America channel because Handmaid's Tale is essentially a political statement. But one of the things that I thought they did well was the evangelical, I'll say, suspicion of female power.
Yeah.
Like, it seems to me there's a strain in Western Christianity. In Eastern Christianity, it's very interesting because in China, you've got women running whole denominations. You've got women running networks of thousands of people, and they're at the tip of the spear, and they're recognized as such, and everybody just, But on the Western side, there's this suspicion of female power. And the idea that a woman can carry any sort of power that supersede men or even are equal to men makes it. I remember one time somebody pulled me aside and said, if you let women do XYZ in the church, they're going to end up running your church and the men are going to whatever. And I remember saying, like, well, that's a problem with the men, right? If they can't play their position because there's a couple strong women around, like, don't we need to tell the men they need to sack up and be men instead of trying to dilute the girls? We're going to dilute the girls' power because these guys are and obviously, it's very fast. So when, watching that series, trying to incarnate as the opposition as much as I possibly could, and understanding that I will never know what it's like to be a woman in America, and a woman, especially a woman in the evangelical subculture.
Right.
And no matter how feminist you are, if you're a secular woman, you still don't understand what that's like, because that is a particularly oppressive environment.
Oppressive, yeah.
That does not appear so, especially to the people that are inside of it. I went to a church for almost a decade, and when they'd go up to pass on the offering plate, they would bring people up, and then they had the little old school offering plate, and then somebody would pray over the offering plate, and then they would distribute it, and then people would give their money. And it didn't even dawn on me that there were never any women to either handle the plate or even pray over the plate. And then one of these people told me, I didn't realize it until one of these people told me directly that was by design. And I said, what? And he goes, well,
yeah.
I mean, it appears, it looks like it's a leadership position. I'm like, the person taking our money is a leader? And they're like, yeah, and that's why we had the guy pray over it. And I'm like, some of these guys that are praying over, they're like, we don't even know if they're Christians. Like, what
So
do you
wait a
mean?
minute. Didn't they let your kid do it once? Didn't they let a kid
Oh
do
yeah,
it?
they let my kid do it because he was a boy. Yeah. Yeah, it created all these weird situations when I was like, wait a second. So a boy can do it, but a grown woman can't? Like, and he was like, yeah, I mean, I was like, oh my God. So my point is, like, watching Handmaid's Tale, I was like, okay, this hellscape that they're painting in this story is what would happen if those people took over the reins of power. And, you know, when you look at, on top of the, the role thing, which obviously we celebrate, but then Obergefell got called into question, and then Obergefell is a gay marriage.
Okay.
And then on top of that, they had birth control, which I'm putting an asterisk on because I'm against any, quote, birth control that is abortifacient. But I'm pretty sure it was just birth control in general, and like 157 Republicans voted against it. So it's like, what is going on? Like, this is a very weird situation. So I understand, like, how the Handmaid's Tale thing gets
They voted
you gotta
against
give it to
that
them,
that you shouldn't be on any form of birth
be able
control.
to, yeah. Well, again, like I said, I'm sure there's abortifacient in there, but I'm sure people could have compromised on that, and it was just about birth control, and it looked like categorically it's like 157 Republicans voted against birth control, so I understand where that comes from. So my point is, like, this has been like a long-standing kind of strange fear that a lot of liberal, particularly women, have. And I think that politicians have been able to, like, jump on that fear so that you can have votes. But now what's happening is, now that Republicans are getting a little bit of power, they're taking some insane steps. Like, prior to the Roe decision, they basically reversed a Second Amendment law that made guns more ubiquitous in the country. You know what I'm saying? Like, then they did Roe, then Clarence Thomas is talking about the Obergefell decision, which has nothing to do with Roe. Like, all these, like, it was like bang, 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 bang. It's like, as soon as these guys get power, like, they're going scorched earth, which is not something that the Republicans used to do. You remember George Bush had a supermajority. We could have codified a ban on abortion then, and they didn't use that power.
Yeah.
So the idea that Republicans use the power as soon as they have it is not necessarily true. But this current brand of republicanism, in a post-Trump world, is pretty scorched earth. And I can understand how a liberal woman would associate where we're heading with Handmaid's Tale. Like, I can completely understand it. I think that initially it was propaganda. I was looking at this like, this is propaganda. But now when I look back at it, I'm like, yo, I don't agree with like 90% of these decisions. I don't agree with the Second Amendment thing they did in New York. Now you're making it more easy for people to carry guns in New York City. Like, what? If that would have been around when I was around, like, I mean,
Yeah.
folks, people were carrying anyway. But,
Right.
there was a process as to how to do that. But anyway, my point is, like, in the Western world, it seems when Christians get power, it doesn't seem that we're mature enough yet as to how to wield it.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the problem. Like, the witch burning thing, we've talked about it ad nauseum, but the spirit of the witch trials and the spirit that's behind that, which is fear of women in general. I think fear of women's sexuality and fear of feminine power, which there is a commingling between those two categories, because even in Handmaid's Tale, the women were necessary because you can't have kids without them. So there are situations in which one of them was pregnant. They did something that should have warranted the death penalty, but because she was pregnant, she was able to escape the punishment. All these kinds of things where that's the tension of, on the one hand, there's a lot of abuse, but on the other hand, there's a powerlessness that these men have because they need these women to, propagate their whatever, and they were worried about birth rates and all the rest of it, which is a very real concern, by the way. Not for people like me, but, it's been reported on numerous occasions from secular outlets that we're not reproducing at the point enough to where we could replicate ourselves very well.
Oh, yeah. And not only that, like, when I talk to people in my mother's generation, and I said, because my mother never experienced a miscarriage, and I said, did you ever know anybody that had any miscarriages? She says, no, I didn't know anybody that had it. Now, maybe their generation didn't talk about it.
Right.
That's possible. But I know lots of people that have had a miscarriage. It's
Right.
actually, what's rare is moms that have never experienced that. That's what's rare. In my circle, I'm saying.
Right.
So,
No, I agree.
yeah, I mean, there's obviously a problem. I mean,
What do you mean?
not just about the birth rate, like people not getting pregnant, but also loss of life in pregnancy. Like that, why is that on the rise?
Well, I don't know if it's on the rise as much as it is people didn't talk about that stuff in your mom's day.
It could be. That
Because
could be
of
it. That,
the shame factor. Like, one of them in the show lost a baby, and it was like, you did this.
I mean,
and
you feel
that type of thing.
You feel that. Like, that's, I think that mom guilt is a real thing when your kids are, like, alive and you're raising them. Like, I hear moms say it all the time. When Mother's Day rolls around and they're getting, celebrated for Mother's Day, like, there's this unbelievable amount of guilt, like, because you cannot be as perfect as you want to be, and you just don't have the track record that you wish that you had, and what you imagined you were going to be as a mother, you're not able to live up to that standard. And so there's daily guilt that mothers have to actually face when it comes to that. So when you have a child in your womb and you lose the baby, like, I mean, it takes two to get pregnant, but you're the only one that carries the baby, so you kind of carry that by yourself if you lose the child like that.
Yeah, so I just thought that, like, it made me think of the show.
Yeah.
Because it's, like I said, I mean, a lot of it was propaganda probably, but I do think that that's the world that these people would, I mean, look, the extreme thing where you're having the systemic sexual assault and stuff like that, I don't see, the guy that I'm thinking about, I don't see him doing it. But yeah, the world that those people would create, though, is
No, I
pretty
couldn't
close.
See,
It's
I
pretty
couldn't see
close.
the sexual assault angle of it, but I could see in vitro with some of those people.
yeah, like farms of
Yep.
people to whatever. Yeah. But yeah, I just think it's a real fear of feminine energy, and not to get too meta at it, but like the witch trials is one, but like I don't think that Western Christianity has reconciled the feminine and masculine energies and how those things are supposed to work together. I feel that, instead of looking at them as complementary to each other, they're instead going with a hierarchical understanding of how men and women are supposed to relate. Mm-hmm. And because women are in the image of God and they're not supposed to be under anybody's foot, there's going to be that clash and that conflict. And if you're stronger, whether economically, physically, or societally stronger, the temptation is to just use the hammer to squash resistance, and that's essentially what has happened to Western. And again, you don't see that in the Eastern side of Christianity. You don't see that in China. You don't see that kind of fear of the feminine energy. So it's a very fascinating and very disturbing look into the psyche of Western Christianity that's got to get called out. I mean, and it's getting kind of called out in mainstream Christianity right now, and you have to give, there are certain actors and players that I think have come into an awakening in conservative, evangelical, Southern Baptist convention type Christians who are coming out and saying things. And, you know, Rachel Held Evans, rest in peace to her, but she was ringing the bell about 10 years ago when it was really sort of edgy to do that. So, but I do think there needs to be a reckoning. I wish more Christian leaders would watch that show, like from A to Z. I wish they would watch the show because, again, even if there are parts where you're like, yo, that's not me, I'm looking for parts where I'm like, yo, where am I in this? You see, like, just like when you read the Bible, you'd say, where am I in this? Mm-hmm. You usually want to make yourself the good guy, and 90% of the time, you'd be the bad guy. So what thought patterns do you have that are witch-burning thought patterns or Handmaid's Tale, whatever sort of archetype you want to use? Where is that? What is the likelihood as a man that you grew up in a society that men dominate in, especially if you're in an evangelical society? What is the likelihood that you were raised with those assumptions, but that you as an individual don't have those, the chances are zero. Even if you're awake to it, the chances are zero. I believe I will deal with that for the rest of my life. Like having to constantly rethink how men and women interface with each other and interact. I believe I'll have to constantly undo and rewire myself for the rest of my life. And so because of that assumption, it makes me open to looking at things like this and saying, okay, where am I at here? Because I just don't believe, mathematically speaking, it's possible that I don't have misogynistic mindsets, because not only evangelical culture, but just Western American culture. Forget it. It's Western American culture is so misogynistic that when women decided that they were going to stand up for themselves and they were not going to live under the feet of men anymore, they adopted pantsuits, which to me is massively symbolic, because it's saying that they surrendered, that they couldn't beat the guys as women. They had to beat the guys by women acting like men. And that to me, like the fact that the pantsuit is the power suit for women and not a dress is massively significant to me. And if anybody wants to act like that clothing doesn't carry symbolic weight, how do we relate to the trans question? It absolutely carries symbolic weight. And that to me speaks to how deep-seated the misogyny in our country is that the pantsuit is the icon of the powerful woman. So anyway, so I know it's kind of a deeper topic, but it's what are your thoughts
About the song or what the pantsuit?
Yeah, like what do you rate it?
I'm gonna give it an 8.6.
I'm gonna give this I'll give it an 8.9. I'll give it an 8.9. Like I said, some of the transitions were weird, but I thought lyrically they did a good job. And when I liked the song, I really, really liked it. So there you go. 8.9. We shall return. We have more music coming your way. Wait. Fit out.
Sorry out.
Go. Okay, guys. That's an interesting statement, Amy. That is a really interesting statement. That's fascinating. I wonder how many black women would say that. Obviously, you know, Oprah is a quadrillionaire, so I don't know if we can look at any of her opinions on anything as something relative to that. But I get what you're saying. All right, guys, commercial break on the way. We have another song coming for you. We shall return. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at sori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/VinandSori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy merch.
Buy merch indeed. A child shall lead them. We are now set for the main event. This is the band Motley Crue. Some of you guys have probably heard of this band, Motley Crue. So let us check them out. My partner in crime is away, so unfortunately, you guys are just gonna have to hang out with me until my partner in crime returns.
I'm coming.
The name of this song is Wilde Side. That's the name of the Motley Crue song, and so we will be doing that once it downloads.
All right, so this is for the big homie Jacob. He said, I wish to go the extra mile to bring you my all-time favorite song, Motley Crue, with their best song ever, Wild Side, from their Girls, Girls, Girls album. Hope it's not too cringy for you all.
So I'm still trying to find this song, so give me a second, dear listener, but go ahead. Are you okay? All right, we got one more song to do. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. It's Wild Side by Motley Crue. This counts as a hair band, right? Motley Crue? Is Motley Crue a hair band? Type 22 if Motley Crue is a hair band. I don't know if they're a hair band or not. I don't know if you would count them as a hair band or not. But let's see. So Wild Side by Motley Crue. Is this a band that you grew up listening to or no?
No, definitely not. Every time I hear Motley Crue, I always think of, those, what's it? It's like the Motley something. I thought it says Motley Crue, but it's like comedy, but it's political satire.
Monty Python.
Monty Python. That's what it always makes me think of.
Really?
Yeah, every time I see Motley Crue. I mean, do you find those funny? Monty Python?
I haven't watched a lot of them. Somebody told us one time to do like a review of a Monty Python skit, but I never did. Okay, but I'm pretty sure they're funny because I hear everybody talk about them. All right, guys, here we are. The final song of the day, Motley Crue. They are one of the founders of hair bands, glam rock to be specific. I have a glam rock setting on my amp, and it sounds like absolute trash. So that tells me I would have failed miserably in the 80s.
Oh yeah, it definitely looks hair band.
I would have failed miserably. All right, guys, here we go. Wild Side, Motley freaking Crue. Let's do this ish. not doing this song because we've already done it. I was like, yeah, this song doesn't sound familiar. We confirmed that. We already did it. Okay, that means we have another song to do. That means you didn't put the thing off Trello? Is that
no, I emailed him and he didn't message back, so... Yeah.
Ah, okay, so we owe him another song. Okay, so then we have to do another song, and hold on.
Yep,
sorry. Actually, what do you mean sorry? I'm not sorry to any of you. Who cares? All right, we have another song on the way then. Let me check, because there's a guy that sent me a message a couple of days ago, so we'll do his song.
And we're just going to jump him?
Wild side. Dun, 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 dun. Shout out to Revo or anybody that caught that. That would be great. All right, let's see here. Sent email. Talk to the people.
Yeah, I'm looking for this because I don't understand how come I'm not seeing it. It's definitely there. I wonder if it got blocked. Okay. Yeah. All right. So it looks like we're going to be doing another one. If you don't find that one there, we've got a whole list.
Yeah.
To choose from. That is weird because it did kind of sound familiar, but
yeah, the riff and all that.
Yeah.
It did sound kind of weird. Thank you for that, by the way. Could you please talk to the people?
What do you mean? Thank you for what? Okay, I'm pulling up the stream.
What happened?
No, it's not going to be a Motley Crue song at all because we already did it. So how has everybody been? Are you guys Dwayne? I have a list.
Yeah, I bet you do, Dwayne. I bet you do.
Does Vin and Sori Live do songs twice? There's still hope for I Am the Walrus reboot. Yeah. Oh, we have another Monty Python song coming in the next A99 stream, I
There
know.
it is. There it is. Power Slave is the name of the band.
Okay. What's the name of the song?
Hold on.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not good at this. Oh, there's a gaming convention coming up next week in Indianapolis. Do you live in Indianapolis, or are you going to go there to it? Yeah. It's Maiden? I don't know. Are we doing a Maiden song?
I doubt it.
Okay. I have not received one of those, if that's what you're looking for. Unless you tell me the song. I already made cards for everything, so...
The guy's last name is Batista. You know where you go in and we see the people that sent stuff?
What do we got for the greater that's paid?
No, it's a Power Slave song.
What's the name? Tell me, Power Slave?
Power Slave, yeah. I don't know the name of the song, but the name of the band is Power Slave.
No, I don't have anything.
Where are you at, Batista? There it is, right there. Aha! I found you.
Oh my gosh. What was the date on that?
That's the YouTube thingamajiggy.
Oh my god. You talk to the people. I can find it over here.
You can find it in PayPal.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how that was missed.
I will talk to the people then. All right, guys. So we got one more song for you guys. It's from a band called Power Slave. I don't know exactly the name of the song. As soon as we find the song, we will do it. Let's see. -5. When they film the commercial and people actually start coming to these live streams, maybe Dwayne. Or is it Maiden? I'll take a maybe, Amy. Power Slate?
Yeah, this? Is this the one?
Yeah. There it is. Just all you have to do is copy that YouTube thing right there.
I'm pretty sure we do have him here.
You do? Okay.
For the really good, right there. It's right here. And that's the exact thing that he wrote.
Okay, so the greater good of God.
Okay, so it's actually an Iron Maiden song in 2007. Okay, do me a favor and scroll back up there again.
Yep. Well, if it's on Trello, you can click the link right there. I moved it. Oh. So it's right in the live stream thing because we've got the...
Okay, let's do it. Where is it?
You've refreshed your page?
Oh, there it is.
And
right
there it is.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
All right, guys, here we go. Iron Maiden for the Greater Good of God is the name of this song. And it's them live, so hopefully this will not
From 2007.
Hopefully this will not get blocked. And I think we've already done For the Greater Good of God, but not the live version yet.
Okay.
Right?
You want me to look?
Yeah.
Okay. I can look. What is happening? Am I on the wrong channel? No. No, I'm not seeing anything For the Greater Good of God.
Okay. Well, then this will be the first time we've done it then. All right. For the Greater Good of God, Iron Maiden Live is the name of this one. We finally figured it out, thank God. Bless God, we finally figured it out.
Okay, so this is for the big homie Hernan. He says, "Hi guys, hope you and the children are doing great. We are. Thank you for asking. Tough times as we mourn our children and trying to find answers to all the hate and violence in display. Says there's no such thing as too much Iron Maiden. Here's one from Download Festival 2007 for the Greater Good of God. The big contradiction in life as we fight for peace. Also in Maiden news, they're finally back on the road after 32 months grounded by the pandemic, and we'll catch them in Tampa, Florida in September. Also, happy birthday to Maiden's drummer, Nico McBrien, who just turned 70. Still going like a champ. Up the irons and be well and be safe."
Okay. Here we go. Iron Maiden for the Greater Good of God live. Let's do this shit. Go! Did the sound cut out?
No, there it goes.
Okay.
A man of holy war. Too many sides to you, don't know which anymore. So many full of life, but also filled with pain. Don't know just how many will live to breathe again. A life that's made to breathe destruction or defense. A mind that's made corruption bad or good intent. A wolf in sheep's clothing, or saintly or sin. Or some that would believe a holy war winner. If all of big shots, many party glows. The light shines beyond the ways that only God would know. And I see lies in heaven, or it can be in hell. I feel he's looking down, or looking from below. I don't know. I don't know. Please tell me no one love is. for us. He fell upon the cross to die for all of those who never mourned his loss. Wasn't meant for us to feel the pain again. Tell me why. Tell me why.
Okay. I am super glad we got to review this one because we did a live version of For the Greater Good of God, but we did the 2019 version, and Bruce Dickinson had gotten his throat cancer in 2015.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the 2007 version before.
Okay.
So because when I heard the 2019 version, I was like, oh, it's, I was giving him props for like being out there and still doing it even after he got throat cancer. But it was really cool to hear this 2007 version and be able to hear what it was really intended to sound like, because it was kind of off in the 2019 one. So that was really cool. So thank you, Hernan, for bringing that version to us. Did you? Because remember how tired his voice was in the 2019 one?
And the energy wasn't the same. It wasn't the Bruce that we were used to. So this song, I talked about this yesterday. We were talking about the last song that I did, and I said that middle part I was the most proud of.
Yeah.
Because it was a way of being heavy. Because I think it's a heavy part. But it's not, chunking on the low E string all the time, and it's not really about, chug-a-lug, as Ben said. It's more about tempo and about tension, and it was really Iron Maiden that really, like, that whole paradigm to me is like, yo, there's a different way to be heavy. Because there's a Korn way to be heavy, which is just down to, like, hard grooves. That's heavy. And then there's, like, Metallica heavy, which is thrash metal, like, crazy, drumming and shit. But then there's Iron Maiden heavy, which is it's heavy because it hits a different part of you. It's inspiring. The what they do with the chords, their progressions, it's inspiring. And that was really about 3 or 4 years ago when we started the channel. That was like a big thing for me when I started listening to Maiden. I was like, found myself like headbanging. I was like, yo, this is not like or this is a different kind of heavy. And obviously for me, all this stuff is new, but I mean, it's not new. I mean, it's been metal since whenever, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so, and that's why like that middle part of the song, like I'm so proud of it because it's like, okay, like this is something I would hear, with Iron Maiden and all the rest of it. And it's something that I came up with, so I'm pretty happy about it. But
I feel like Iron Maiden has a sort of like familiar sound to them, like that.
Yes.
Like familiar as in, because there's familiar that could be negative, and then there's familiar that's like sort of comforting, and the sound that Iron Maiden puts out, like I can't compare it to anything besides like it has a sort of family. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know that's a weird way to put it, but that's the best way I can explain it. The familiarity feels like you're kind of a part of the family, and I like that. I like that sort of feel to it, and it has the heavy angles to it, and his voice is so like timeless because I mean. When did this song originally come out in 2000? Oh, release date is 2006. No, it can't be. Yeah, 2006.
Yeah.
So this is only a couple of years after. Well, 1 year after it came out, we saw the live version. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, like the guitar work for me is crazy. I mean, they've got 3 guitarists because basically one of the guys left, they replaced him with somebody else, and then the guy decided to come back, but they didn't want to cut bait with the other guy.
Oh, really?
So they have like all 3 of them, which I think is so brilliant, especially for Iron Maiden, because Iron Maiden really is a they're a guitar-driven band.
Yep.
I think like that's like Nightwish is not a guitar-driven band. The guitars are there basically to, set the stage for the vocalist, because in all cases when they had a female vocalist, they had like a top 1%er for the vocalist. So I get like you would just use that as a framing to surround the vocalist. But Iron Maiden is they're really a guitar-driven band. But what's unique about them is they have a vocalist that's out of this world, and so you're able to combine both of them. And I
see what you're saying.
I think there's lots of bands. There are a lot of bands that combine guitar and vocals well, but I think they've codified a certain style that you have to give credit to.
Yeah.
And so like I really 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 appreciate them. Because they did a good job. They did a good job in codifying a style, and I think they were probably the first to really combine, like, we're going to emphasize guitar and the instrument, as well as the vocalist himself is essentially an instrument as well. His so I thought that's the thing that kind of sets this band apart. Like, I remember, like, growing up, in Maine. And I remember it was Jim and Steve. These were the two guys on the block. And they were arguing about Metallica and Maiden. And they were going back and forth. And I just remember being like, okay, I don't know any of these bands or whatever. I was just interested in riding my bike. But they got really, like, animated by it. And it's funny to me.
I bet.
It's like, I probably like Metallica more because I own Metallica music. But here's the difference for me with Iron Maiden and Metallica. Maiden will do like a 30-year-old song, and you'll have 15, 16-year-olds in the crowd singing word for word along with it with with massive passion.
Yeah.
Whereas you go to a Korn show, the median age is me. You go to a Metallica show, like, there are young people there, but Maiden, I just think Maiden probably gets the edge just because, in my mind, they seem to be more timeless than Metallica. Like the Kill 'Em All record, for example. Like I don't think you could play any of the Kill 'Em All stuff today and like have it pass as a song. You know what I'm saying? Whereas I think 50 years from now, if people are reacting to Iron Maiden, they're gonna like this song. I think Master of Puppets, obviously, like, definitely, but like Maiden did it every single time. It seems like to me,
consistency.
I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like they did it every single time. And I agree, they're apples and oranges. But as far as like who came up with the better formula, one thing I will say about Metallica is it seems to me like if you look at Metallica's discography, they reinvented themselves a lot more. They went to different places musically. I mean, they came out with a new metal record, for example. The Saint Anger record. It didn't do well, but at least they tried it. The Black Album is completely different from the Puppets record. So I would say that Metallica was more experimental.
Yep.
Whereas Maiden pretty much stayed within their own wheelhouse.
I'm saying they're very consistent.
A person could say, well, they made the same record a million times. Like, like people say that about AC/DC. I don't know if it's true or not. But, it's just different. If I'm asking, like, who took more risks or who tried to expand themselves more as musicians, I would give it to Metallica.
Right.
But, who is more accessible, I would give it to Maiden. Like I said, I'm blown away, like, every time I see a Maiden, like, live show and there's, like, very, very young people who this guy could be the grandfather of easily. And they're singing, like, their hearts out, and they're just more, I think they're more timeless, and I think they've mastered, again, they did the same thing over and over again, maybe, but they've mastered it to the point where it doesn't matter. It's like Mariano Rivera. Mariano Rivera had one pitch. It's a cut fastball, 96 miles an hour. Knew it was coming inside. Didn't matter.
Yeah.
ERA under 1 probably or something. Just unbelievable guy. So, there you go. So that's how I feel about Maiden. This gets a 10 from me. We've heard it before, blah blah blah. But that's why I'm giving it a 10 because of their ability to do.
And like I said, I'm glad that we were able to hear. This was a year after it was put out, so you're really hearing what they wanted it to sound like. I'll match you a 10. Yep. All right.
There you go. There you are, dear listener.
Shout out to Hernan, our
Batista.
big homie. Yep.
Shout out to the big homie Batista. Thank you to everybody. Shout out to all the Ronins. Long live Ronin gang. We will see you guys soon. Vin